Let's see if we can get something that's a little bit more purple in the background. Let's try that again. Okay. Hey guys, I'm having a bit of a pink drink today. That's the ice, sorry. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing another true crime video. I'm wearing my curly hair today. I am going to be doing another video today. I was drinking a little bit of just one of my favorite cocktails, but it's almost over. Last sip. I've shown you this before in another video. I'm gonna be drinking water the rest of the way, and you guys have seen this flask. Today we're gonna be talking about Tom Girardi, who is a lawyer from LA. He's pretty popular, and he's recently been involved in a lawsuit, a fraud, Ponzi scheme type of thing that's been going on. Everything is alleged. Nothing has really gone to the court of law yet. He settled some of the stuff, so let's get into it. So, Tom Girardi is a lawyer who had made his name, but I think he really came to national attention because of his wife, Erika Jayne, Erika Girardi. Erika Jayne is a housewife on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills show, and you guys, I would not have known anything about this, but when Garcelle Beauvais joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills franchise, I finally started watching it. I'm sorry, I feel like it's just most of the franchises, I feel like they're very superficial because they tend to take very rich people or relatively successful upper middle class people and put them on TV. The concept of Real Housewives is basically that they are these women who are grouped together in some sort of pseudo friendship. I call it pseudo friendship because it's more like work. They're on TV, tend to be promoting their brands and things like that, and they tend to host little gigs. And on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there's really this push to host a bigger, more expensive, more lavish, more flashy gig. However, Erika Girardi created this persona, Erika Jayne, and it just became this very successful, influential, more like performer kind of enterprise. She had a business called EJ Global. So Erika Girardi was basically singing and performing songs about being rich and things like that. Just typical things. She's got a very Marilyn Monroe-esque look, blonde hair, shape, full figure, really gorgeous woman of a particular age. She's the third wife of a very rich lawyer, Tom. She presented Tom as a good man, a hardworking man. Tom had the reputation of fighting for the little guy. Sorry guys, I really have to learn to look at you guys. Okay, I am going to close this. Hopefully this keeps me in check. Right. Okay. So Tom had this reputation of fighting for the little guy and getting people settlements. So he was really one of those lawyers that was really, really popular for fighting for the little guy and getting people's cases, fighting big giants like P&G, big companies, and getting people who had been wronged by big companies their money almost like a very prosecutorial role, you know, going after these big companies, getting people to get compensated for the wrongs that they have gone through, mass action, class action lawsuits and things like that. Like, that was his thing. And Eric would always speak very highly of him, and they would speak very highly of their relationship. People would ask, like, oh my god, like, is the sex like still happening because of his age? They had a significant age gap. I'm not sure, I don't have the ages, but they had a significant age gap. And but she says it is what it is. Said that they met, if I understand, they met while she was working and like doing some sort of service, waitressing or dancing or whatever she did, and he liked her. He asked for her number. They went on a date, and they've been together ever since, and they got married without a prenup. So I think that's the part that really cements things together, because it made it seem like, wow, this is the fairy tale, right? This is Pretty Woman in real life happening. You find a guy, he marries you, no prenup, and he's a lawyer, you know. And whenever she'd be asked about that, she would say, do you honestly think my husband is a lawyer? Do you honestly think if he wanted to keep his money, he doesn't know how to keep his money? Like, he's a lawyer. And that was kind of just how it went. He looked relatively good for his age, but he didn't look great. He looked good. You know how old people be looking sometimes. Like, it's not enough to, it's great for a grandparent, but it's not like, I want to sleep with you, you're my husband kind of thing. He's of a particular age, maybe in his 70s, almost 80s now. And here's my thoughts. I feel like the whole plan was take some money, invest it into Erika Jayne, and Erika Jayne becomes this success, and she's making money and she's earning, and she was his retirement plan. That's my thought process. Funny enough, I was watching an episode of, I think maybe a clip of Real Housewives of Miami. No, of Salt Lake City. Whitney, it's Whitney, and she was being asked, like, you know, do you feel bad that you have spent most of your savings in your business and blah blah blah? And she was like, are you worried about, you know, your husband's retirement and your family's retirement? Are you worried about your family's retirement? She said, I am my husband's retirement plan. And I was like, girl, you go, girl, boss lady, get it. And these are people who typically marry rich. So it's amazing to see women who don't have to work wanting to work. But what's even more interesting is seeing these men who have traditionally held their foot down being willing to be taken care of by their spouses. It's amazing. So back to Erika Jayne and Tom. So Tom, I watched a documentary basically, and it's called like The Housewife and the Hustler, where the victims come up and they speak. One of the victims, victims of the, I think, San Bernardino. Oh my god, I feel like I'm butchering that, but basically victims of a fire, which ended up coming out that the company for the gas was negligent, so they had to pay the victims the money. He got the settlement, he never paid them back, he never paid the client the money. So I love this part in the documentary where they break down how it's supposed to work. If a company does a settlement with a person, that means that they didn't go to trial. They do a settlement with a person, there's a certain amount of money that's taken and it's put in a trust. Okay, the trust is basically kind of handled by the law firm and other people, and then the lawyer takes out all their money, because most of the cases, the way that it works is that the lawyer does the work for free until they crossed over to the other side, right? Until they get the money. So they'll basically, he was taking cases that he had a guaranteed win. So they take a case like that, they work at it, they get the money, but they are billing all their hours on the side and all their fees on the side. When the money comes in, they deduct all their fees, all their billings, and then they give you the rest of the money. But the money's in a trust. The lawyer's money comes out, the rest goes to the client. Well, Tom wasn't giving the And I feel like, again, if it's too good to be true, maybe it's not. And a lot of the people had built this trusting relationship with this man, because you guys have to understand, like, after a traumatic event, if someone swoops in and saves the day, and then money is introduced, you guys, money is a tool that can save your life, that can recalibrate your life, that can help you push through traumatic events. Like the gentleman who was who was in the fire, who survived these fires, had to have a ton of surgeries, and he just had so much aftercare, medical aftercare, that was just gonna happen for the rest of his life. That was just the situation he was in. So he needed that money to keep him alive and keep him going. And I'm sure he was now on disability, couldn't really afford to work the same way as before, just so many things. And then the other victims were the victims of the Boeing plane crash, from that Malaysian plane crash. He took some of those clients under his wing. He never paid them, and you can imagine how many people lost breadwinners in that situation. Parents, siblings, guardians, just breadwinners, and they deserved the money. They need the money. Yeah, if you lost a parent or a guardian who was taking care of you, who was paying your school fees, who was yes, at the end of